Islam Sheikh the Baby Moisture Recognition Family. Islam. It is August the 4th, 2023. I'm at formerly Extended Stay America, now Admiral Suites. It's still room 116 and in Annapolis, Maryland. It's 7:37 a.m. I have to be at work at 10. So I'm drinking light roast organic coffee that I buy from Whole Foods. That's the coffee maker. This is a Ninja. It's an air fryer. Imani and I, we don't. We haven't had to use oil in a long time. Any type of oil, if we choose to, but I really don't think there's really nothing that our diet really consists of or requires oil. So we don't buy oil. I just woke up, so I went in the bathroom. I'm drinking the coffee now. Also, what I do is drink. I buy a lot of Whole Foods. Most of I would say 99.9% of grocery shopping reference to food comes from Whole Foods. The only thing I buy other places, like if I'm rushing, I might get a banana from Giant to get cash out of the. I'm not saying I wouldn't buy organic food or vegan plant-based food from Giant, but it's just Whole Foods is on the way. So, and I like Whole Foods. I'll be honest, I like Whole Foods and I like Giant too. It's not that I don't like Giant, but I've been shopping at Whole Foods since I came to Annapolis. I came to Annapolis. Well, since I came, let me say this: since I was aware of Whole Foods when we moved to formerly Extended Stay America, now Admiral Suites, and it was in my walking path. I just so happened to walk past. I was like, "Oh my goodness, Whole Foods," and I didn't know much about Whole Foods. I just said, "Let me check it out," and or let me. It's interesting. Some people say "check it out." And I just use the word "check it out." Recently, I hear that word "check it out" a lot at Burger King. I just use the word "check it out." Anyway, so let me go in here and look at it, or see what this grocery store is about. And they have a lot of organic, plant-based, vegan food. So that you wouldn't find in other grocery stores, even supplements and vitamins and vegan and so forth. So I've been buying this water 365 from Whole Foods for a long time. Um, I'm gonna give you a little history because a lot of the times when I would go to Whole Foods, first of all, once again, when I came to Annapolis, honestly, I had already spoke to the National Grand Chief Joe Bray before I came to Maryland. I told him that Imani and I were going to come to Maryland, and as we get settled, we'll start going to the temple. I stayed in contact with the National Grand Chief Joe Bray. I stayed in contact with with other Moors as well. I was texting them regularly. The Sheikh Dwayne Bey, and so forth. So I didn't know much about Annapolis. I did exactly what I said. When I got to Annapolis, I stayed in contact constantly with the Temple 13 in Baltimore. Walking distance from Annapolis and catching a bus, it takes about almost 3 hours to get there, and and to come back another 3 hours. It is definitely. Let me drink this as this is the coffee. And what I'm oh and so what I've been doing. Let me finish this thought as well. I got this from more herbs. This is a mineral. It helps cleanse metals out of your body, your bloodstream. So I drank some of this, pour it in here, and I'm gonna. It's supposed to be a gallon, so I'm gonna actually. I had to decrease the amount, but I think I did pretty good. And I'm gonna try to drink two of these before I go earn money. Um, Once again, this is from Whole Foods. Mushroom coffee. I've subscribed. This is Four Sigmatic. When I say mushroom coffee, so what I do, to make a long story short, haven't drank my coffee, so I'm trying to rush. This is the coffee that I buy from Whole Foods. It's organic. Then what I do is take Four Sigmatic um, mushrooms, and I mix it up in a coffee. And that's how I make my mushroom coffee or mushroom tea. I subscribe with Four Sigmatic, but and I decided Whole Foods started, at first Whole Foods didn't sell these containers, at least that I saw. I didn't see them anywhere. Then one day I looked and they were selling these containers, and I was like, okay, and they were around about the same price. I think it was cheaper for me to get online. But what happened? Well, finance. I was trying to budget, and I just right now postpone the subscription with Four Sigmatic, but I'm still buying Four Sigmatic. I'm just buying it from Whole Foods. So anyway, once again, I do approximately 99.9% of our shopping there. I mean, Walgreens. I go to Walgreens to get non edible foods, or I should say, like dish detergent, Clorox, and so forth. Same thing with Giant. I get if I need to get Clorox or whatever, I can get it at Giant. Pads, feminine pads from Giant. That's the main reason. That's the main reason why I go. And then there's the vitamin store. I go to the vitamin store to purchase chlorophyll. This is chlorophyll, and so I go to the vitamin store, which is in the same plaza where Giant, the grocery store, is. I used to purchase chlorophyll and frankincense and other herbs from this other store that was damaged real bad from a tornado. In 2020, I think the tornado happened in 2021, September the 1st, I think it was 2021, if I remember correctly. And it is the just so happened the organic store right across, not even a block, just like diagonal, right across from Burger King. Just so happened I get a job there. And anyway, when it was called Sons and Earth. So I would go there, purchase chlorophyll, organic herbs, whatever, Himalayan salt. We use Himalayan salt. This is Himalayan salt, moringa powder. So I would go there and purchase these types of things from that store that was right across the street from Burger King. I was going there up until the tornado in 2021. It was easy. As soon as I get off work, just walk over there, or even on my break, just walk over there and get what I need. But the tornado, after the tornado happened in September the 1st, 2021, it damaged the store really bad. I saw them shutting down, but I didn't know. I thought they were going to come back because like they were trying, there was work being done on the building, but they never opened up again. So, make a long story short. So, I find it interesting because I have had some very odd experiences at Whole Foods. Imani and I, we don't know. Imani is resting. I'm going to ask him real quick. He's on vacation this week. He gets paid vacation. Imani,
Yep.
do you know anyone personally here in Annapolis?
No.
Have you implied that you want to know anyone personally, or date an African American male, female, Mexican, Mongoloid that speaks Spanish, male, female, pale skin that's male or female?
Absolutely not.
Have, so do you try, this is just a question, yes or no. Do you try to keep your engagements
To a
professional,
minimum.
to a minimum, and professional and respectful?
Yep.
Okay, that is very good. And that's what we have always tried to do. Have you implied that you wanted to join a set like Freemason or some other set or other
Fraternity and anything like that? Nope.
no. Cuz do you know anyone personally here in Annapolis?
No.
No, as a naturalized Moor, who have affirmed to uphold the U.S.A. Constitution of 1787, 13th Amendment, 20 sessions, and all four of Abraham Lincoln's proclamations. Have you even came across any other naturalized Moors in Annapolis?
No.
Okay. Neither have I. Okay. There's no one here that can say that. And so when we came here, like anywhere, we were like, first of all, we were thankful to get a job, get employment. We started looking for a job immediately. We could have gotten cash, possibly, and stay and waited for the homeless shelter to open up. But so we came in the last week of May. I said June because I leave out the last week a lot, but it was the last week of May of 2016, and we just started. We don't have a vehicle, so we just started walking and putting in applications as many places as possible. And Burger King and Wendy's hired us. He works at Wendy's, I work at Burger King. And then as time went on, then we found out about formerly Extended Stay America, Admiral Suites. And because I was walking, I found the path, because I had to figure out a path to get to work and how long it would take for me to get back and forth to work. And that's when I came across Whole Foods. And I was like, oh my goodness. Then just so happened, I look across the street from Burger King, and there's another organic store, Sons and Earth. I was like, oh my goodness, this is really favorable for us, because we were even though my diet has changed, but I've been transitioning and learning the chemistry of my body and money too. For years, since I've been transitioning us, because before, as usual, as a parent, your child does, eat what you eat, since 2010. And as time went on, I just kept increasing, kept studying, and then changing my diet. I'm still studying. I definitely don't know. I'm still studying different forms of food and how it affects your thoughts and your emotions, and how it correlates to the chemistry of your body, the blood. Not everybody's the same. So that is my thought, and that is definitely true, especially now knowing that we're among AI and I want to say AI robots. Somehow make sure it looks like I got I just woke up. AI robots, humanoid robots that can control technology. And then in Annapolis, never thought I would hear Mexicans or Mongoloid or blacks say Birdman or Mongoloid looking that speak Spanish look my way, or hear blacks say brother like something wrong with them. I never thought I would experience such things, or I have to call the police as many times as I had to because of forced engagement. Hearing blacks say words like "we're not going to leave that room," or we just imply that they have the right to be in someone's life. They I'm not leaving the room, or we're not leaving the room, or he indefinitely looking at me or towards me close enough, or just walk by and say he FUCKU. I never experienced such things in my and especially coming from the background I come from, where yes, there are. I'm not saying I did not look at African Americans, because I was once under that status, and say there's some are evil and bad. No. What I'm trying to say is, for a long time, it would take a lot for someone to convince me, because of the conspiracy against because of the so-called conspiracy against African American blacks, and I'm on that status African American, and I was like, dealing with history in reference to hangings, racial profiling, being placed in jail unjustly, being executed unjustly. So the history goes on and on about the different bloodshed. Okay, So the last thing, and being in among family members, and that actually um, that taught these things, and also others. It was hard. It was a challenge for me. Even though I definitely was raised around many pale skins, and yes, I got along with many pale skins. But as time went on and learning, because most of the time you go through a stage where you start seeking who you are, and you start learning more history, not just what you learn in school. So I wasn't hateful towards pale skins, no, but definitely it would take a lot for me to accept that so many blacks or African Americans could be a part of killing, or even be a species of a black, not the same as a Moor, Islam, a created species of some kind, and be a part of killing and rape, imprisonment, of unjustly of Moors, execution, the Moors being executed, or because the Moors, through chemistry, body, blood, but have not taken a status. Never would I think that they could be such a species of blacks or African Americans that could be a part of such things, male and female. I would not think of that. Now, even though as time went on, my consciousness changed, then and I started hearing more conscious, they call themselves conscious African Americans speak. Yes, I did listen to some of them. They started to speak about, some of them looked like they really started to pay for what they were saying about blacks or African Americans that were a part of the destruction and killing of Moors. But they didn't say Moors. They would just say other African Americans. Okay, and they were trying. At the time, I didn't catch on because it was just not in my thought process to think that there were blacks or African Americans that could be of a different species, Islam, and they are trained, created to deliberately subjugate Moors, breed. Because if you breed an unclean spirit in a line, it's like, for example, in a lot of the history of slavery, they said a lot of the house slaves were bred with the master, okay? And so that the house slave was very light-skinned, and looked similar to the master, was a light-skinned black. And they wanted those blacks to be in the house with the pale skin. And then the darker skinned blacks would be out in the field. They called them field slaves, right? So this is some of the history that was taught, that I learned. So because I didn't have the thought process of what was really going on in reference to gene manipulation, DNA manipulation, I would never think that it could be an extreme of blacks, a created species of blacks that look like a Moor with a very low frequency, that full of unclean spirits, male and female, that are deliberately created to breed with Moors so they contaminate the line and keep the frequency low. Which, with the frequency being low, because if Moors that know themselves and that are implementing a high frequency of natural, divine, and cosmic laws, have the potential to change and raise the frequency of Earth and a high frequency of natural, divine, and cosmic laws, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, morality, harmonizing which has always been natural law. So excuse me. So if you breed a low frequency beast in a line where this being, it has the potential, like all that the being that's like it have, to raise the frequency just by reclaiming or implementing their birthrights and inheritance, who they are, natural law. Then if you are against, if you raise war against Earth, what would you do? You start thinking of different scientific methods, because so. Going back to the history of slaves, so they said the pale skin would rape the African slave, they would call, or because at the time they taught all slaves came from Africa, but we know that's not true. And one more used to say, I'm going to use this thought, a plotted thought now. Some more used to say, why they never found any slave ships remains at the bottom of the ocean. They found so many artifacts, but they don't have any real proof of a slave ship. Did it all rot away? Where are the slave ships? All right. So they said that that was used to carry the slaves. They were implying that there has never been any remains of slave ships found. So I'm going to keep speaking on this subject. So when I came to Annapolis, I want to say, if I saw someone that's African American and Black, I'm not going to look at them as a threat. I'm just not, even though spiritually I had grown. I was still it's just like, or even pale skin. That's just who I'm just not going to do it. I wasn't going to do it, because if you don't know, spiritually I was growing, but I was still not there all the way. And I'm still not there. I'm still learning. So what I'm trying to say is, for me to get to a point where I'm like, Negro, if I'm walking and one of them speak to me and say, and I'm like, Negro, do not talk to me, male or female, it's because of what I experienced through the years that has been so out of the ordinary of what I've experienced with other African Americans when I was under the status, being among an African American community, predominantly all my family. I think we're the only ones that reclaim our nationality as Moors, African American status. My family under the African American status. What I'm trying to say is there was a reason to get me to this point. Islam. And I didn't know that the Navy, the Army was so prevalent here when I came to Annapolis. Even when I spoke to the National Grand Chief and told them that I was Imani and I was coming to Maryland, and just asking them, is it okay? I didn't know. And so I would never thought anything negative about the military being here, the Air Force, the Marines, because as Moors, we're taught they're supposed to be protectorates of freedom, liberty, protectorates of Moors who are reclaiming their actual freedom, spiritually, mentally, physically. So why would I expect or think that the military could be involved, the United States Navy or Army, any form of harm, acts of terrorism, abuse? Why would I think that? Or any form of maybe maybe trying to force breed a species? Why would I think that? And I didn't know the history of Annapolis. But everywhere, because of the so-called slave business, the institution of slavery, not just on this landmass, but in South America, the continent of South America, the continent of South of Africa, the continent, everywhere slavery was being instituted or performed, which caused a curse to appear. Islam, because it was never supposed to be Islam, especially so I don't want to say especially on this landmass, but I do remember Moore's one more said freedom and bondage cannot exist in the same atmosphere. So either you're going to be, either the energy of freedom exists or the energy of bondage. So when that which started to encourage and implement slavery and bondage on this planet, what it was trying to do, and still is use a form of science to overthrow the spirits of freedom, and this because it knew that the spirits of freedom has always been, is, was, and always have been here on this planet and in the universe, the cosmos. So and so what happened is those that partaked in it brought about a curse. Whether it was Moors that used experiments that were pale skins as slaves, or others pale skins using other pale skins as slaves, Africans using other Africans as slaves, nonetheless, it brought about a curse of energy, because this is a sacred planet. It's sacred energy of freedom and a high frequency of natural law. So what's going on in Annapolis? So when I started to hear African Americans, well, first of all, when my dreams were being invaded, it's like, how are they doing this? How is this happening? These unclean spirits invading my dreams, and I'm waking up, my genitals being attacked, like I'm having an orgasm. Like I'm waking up in the middle, and I'm feeling my genitals having an orgasm. I'm hearing a feedback in the room, black Negro, male accent in the room. Hearing the people say military or close, or feedback saying military close in the room. Police. So let me hold on one moment so I can get all my thoughts. So a lot of times when I rush, I start to go here and there, and I want to stay focused to get what I'm trying to say. And I am speaking the truth. Because it takes a certain science to invade thoughts, dreams. But the reason would be why? Why would something want to force, invade dreams and thoughts, and then normalize it as though it has always been that they should be able to do it? I mean, hearing blacks saying, I'm not going to leave that room, males, but they're talking to one another, but you walking by and you're experiencing feedback in the room that you are renting. And you, when I say you, I'm referring to myself. I am recording the feedback. I am sending it to the temple of Moorish American National Public. I've recorded seeing odd behavior around the room. And then as I walk by some blacks, they speak about how they're not leaving somebody's room. Hold on. I'm seeing the people outside the room. I mean, one time, I mean, people would be outside. Once black male would be outside, literally feedback would start happening in the room. This black male that would have the Navy shirt on, or a shirt that represented the Navy, he would it sounded like it was the feedback, it was an African American male accent close in the room, would say, I love her. This is just an example. And then all of a sudden the black male with the Navy shirt on would say, I know you love her. Because a lot of times what I do is use a higher now, and even then I was so I would just ignore the feedback. But it seemed as though the purpose is to engage. Because if you can engage in that manner, whether it's through thoughts, emotions, feedback, then you have became a part of someone's life forcefully. And if you are you saying 3 Freemason, and you feel like you did a ritual on someone sexually, and you want to keep implementing that you did a ritual on a person, you want to keep upholding that ritual of rape and molestation, then you're going to keep saying things like he F-U-C-K-U. They F-U-C-K-U. One moment. So, hold on one moment. Just make sure I'm not moving you. I'm making another cup of coffee. It's already 8 o'clock. So, let me finish. So when I came to Annapolis, to hear the people say, I was starting to hear people say that they're the Birdman, or hear blacks say brother, or we paid, and look at me, or look towards my way, or that man paid. They wanted to start saying that man paid. My tablet started to freeze up. The machinery, like the air condition, goes on and off like it's like being manipulated. Machinery being manipulated, when the frequency I'm experiencing here, and I'm being truthful. It's like, for example, I'll wake up, all of a sudden the air condition goes off. So if you or hearing a thump in the room. So these are if you, and I'm not accusing an Admiral Suites or extended stay, but these are some of the things that can be considered mind experiments to engage and to call mental illness. Islam. So I started to see feathers on my path to work and from work on the and I was like, why? Who is planting these feathers? Once again, the Mongoloid that speaks Spanish look to be from South Central America or Mexico. We don't know that. I know very little Spanish. I mean, sometimes Hamima, like just a few days ago, she was like walking towards me speaking Spanish fluently, and I was like, I know Spanish. I was like, what did you say? I know very little Spanish. I'm learning, you know. Hamima is a co-worker I work with at Burger King. She said she was from Mexico, if I remember correctly. When I started to see feathers on the path to and from work. Then I started to hear blacks very close and around say, that's the Birdman, or that's the bird. Then right around the time when Phyllis started to say, the manager started to say, who, once again, I did not know for years that her husband retired from the Navy. I didn't know there was any connection with James, the other manager, in reference to the Army. Even though that those that implied to be or are in the Navy, Army, and other military branches come to Burger King all the time. They come to Burger King all the time. They are at Whole Foods all the time. To make a long story short, I want to get back. I didn't know. So when I started to see the feathers to and from work, and seeing the police, these police accidents, these car accidents that were very odd. See the police when I would see the feathers, and then hearing the Birdman, here people say the Birdman, predominantly African Americans, blacks. Right around when Phyllis started to say I stink and force clock me out, no matter what I did, she started to just clock me out. This is what led me to get in touch with the EEOC. Okay, well, I called the National Grand Sheet and I told, and that was the suggestion from the National Grand Sheet to contact the EEOC. And I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. I'm looking at the time. I looked at the time. So she started to clock me out saying I stink. And I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for years. This is in year 2022. Then spiritually, I started to just cleanse the room. I always cleaned the room, but I didn't clean under the bed. I lift up the bed, and there were. This is during the time when Phyllis was starting to say I stink, and she was force clocking me out. I would go to work, change my shirt, and put on my work shirt there, and she still said I stink. One time I hadn't even been on the clock for 4 minutes, and she said I stink. And she just said, and she clocked me out, and she said that Dora, which is from El Salvador, South America, agreed. So anyway, I decided to clean under the bed. I would clean everywhere else, but for whatever reason, I didn't clean under the bed. So I lifted up the bed. I found feathers under the bed. Also found a feather under the chair. I was so surprised. So I asked extended stay, because that's what it was then. This was in 2022. And once again, this is during the time when Phyllis was saying I stink, and she was force clocking me out. The manager, she's an African American, unless she claims a nationality, I don't know. And James also had been doing it. They have been doing things like this for a while, but it became consistent. Never saying I stink. It was just for whatever other reasons, and a lot of times it had to do with after or during the time I would take African American males order. So getting back. Getting back to Whole Foods. So Whole Foods, I once again, I didn't know the connection of how, cause I would see those that represent the military, United States Navy, Army at Whole Foods. I would hear people say Burger King at Whole Foods. One black male was bold enough and tried to approach me, don't know him, saying Burger King while I was at Whole Foods. A lot of times I would be at Whole Foods and I would study astrology and read at Whole Foods. And I did a lot of videos at Whole Foods. A lot of times I talk to myself at Whole Foods, speaking my thoughts out loud at Whole Foods. A lot of times, okay? But I was noticing the more and more that I tried to document about what I was experiencing, especially in reference to black African American males and females. That's when that which was African American and female would be more and more looking, gauging, especially when I talk to myself. Holding the camera up, trying to take my picture. The reason why I'm bringing up a species, and also pale skin too, because pale skins are saying brother, 3. It sound like animals, deranged. These are accents, definitely something male and female. So at Whole Foods, I started the employees, not co-workers, were acting odd. One black female would start addressing me as love. And I expressed to her to not do this, and she wasn't apologetic. She was like, that's when I got the manager to talk to her. I told the manager that she addressed me as love, and she didn't say I'm sorry. She didn't say you're right or anything. She was like really like she had the right to say my love to me. I don't know her. I've had some basic conversations with other coworkers at employees at Whole Foods, because I'm there quite a bit. Sometimes I go there. A lot of times I go there twice a day. Depends on if I have to go there before I go to earn money at Burger King, or really depends. But I do my shopping at 99.9% shopping. I walk everywhere, so it takes a longer time for me to do maintain my living expenses and money too. because we're not driving. We walk everywhere, pretty much, except for sometimes we choose to catch the bus to go downtown Annapolis. Then another black male, I wasn't even talking to him, another employee at Whole Foods. I was outside doing a video, and he came outside, and I told him not to talk to me. He had on a Whole Foods uniform, and I said, don't talk to me. And he continued to talk to me like he had the right to speak to me, whether I said don't talk to me or not. Even though if I said it in an angry manner, I'm a customer. I don't know him. So if a customer is looking at you and say, don't talk to me, and maybe that customer looks like they're mentally off or whatever, who knows? Okay, the first thing, usually what employees do is walk away, say, no problem. But he stood there with his, like he had the right, and said, I was trying to offer you something for free. And he just kept trying to engage, like he had the right. I never experienced, and so this is the type of enforced engagement that led me, because I had already called the cops on other black males before I experienced this with that black male. Okay, from them trying to force engage, as I'm simply walking to go earn money at Burger King. So I'm keep walking. The black males gonna force engage. One black male tried to reach out and grab me to get my attention. Don't know him. Pale skins, after I started to document pale skins, predominantly females would start say, would have pulled over and said, can I give you a ride? Predominantly pale skinned females. I started sometimes when I'm at Whole Foods, the cashiers, now I don't address when I hear them say things odd, because it brings too much stress. You hear me? So if it's and I'm trying to maintain, I know my goal is to maintain mental balance. But it sounds like some of the cashiers, like I try to go to some of the regular cashiers, but it sounds like some of the cashiers when they're like one cashier, African American, sound like she was saying your son each time she gave me the money in my hand. But I could be wrong. The another pale skinned male sound like he said I love you as he put it in my hand. Now Whole Foods have cameras all over the store. I didn't address this happened after I addressed the black female that said my love. I just told myself I'm not going to allow myself to engage in that type of stress, because then that could cause truly mental illness, Islam, and then fear. At Burger King, there's been issues with cursing. Even Janelle said don't curse, but they still curse. It's so odd. At formerly Extended Stay America, Admiral Suites, I just made a payment, and I was noticing, because even at Whole Foods, I would hear some people say Burger King. I'm walking somewhere, someone yelled Burger King somewhere close by, or because Whole Foods is only approximately 20-minute walk from Burger King, so that I go to, and definitely once again the United States military, Navy, and could be undercover police. They're there. Okay, the military is prevalent all around Annapolis. I was hearing some of the a change in how the employees at Extended Stay behave. Before it became Admiral Suites, there was this one employee, I think his name was, I'm going to use this thought name, Will. He was cursing. On the phone in the lobby. He was cursing. I've heard him curse outside the door. I was like, I think that's Will, and it was him. Then he was on the phone, and the general manager is Jennifer. She didn't say anything to him. But he was in the lobby on his phone, just using the F word, F word. Cause that was one of the main words that I noticed that the employees started to use quite a bit. The FUCK word. It's like I mean, this is just a thought. It's like a ritual saying FUCK. It's like, why they and so this is through time they started to do these things. Okay, use the FUCK word. Just a few days ago, I made a payment. Day before yesterday, I think it was. And one of the employees, African American, unless you claim a nationality, I've seen maybe 3 employees from Extended Stay, now Admiral Suites, come to Burger King. Maybe in the past another one, but I haven't seen. They don't work here, and I haven't seen them in a long time. But anyway, she definitely has been in Burger King, and she was with this other black male that had the military hat on. United States Navy or Army military hat on. It could have been her husband or brother, I'm not sure. But just a few days ago, I made a payment, and the payment didn't work. The credit card didn't accept the payment at first. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't want it to take it out twice. She did it again. I said, let me check my tablet, make sure it didn't take it out twice. And she said, yeah, don't want that to happen because she said she had an issue I think she said that day where she made the telephone company took her payment out 3 times. And then she started to use the word SHIT, talking to me as though we homies. In the conversation, I just got quiet and kept it professional with her. Now, I could have said, can you not say this to me, SHIT? But once again, that's bringing about something that should not even have to be said. So what I'm getting at is, if you are in a community where, and I'm not accusing her, but this is just a thought. If you are in a community where the United States Navy and military and other military branches, the police, are collaborating, then you have officials, Annapolis City officials. Not only that, you know now that you're among others, lab experiments, lab freaks, that they have been using and breeding. All right. So the breeding and the slave plantations wasn't just about, and probably even then, making a light skin black. That was the surface. Because if you had scientists then too that knew how to create it. We don't know what it is. And in Annapolis, obvious that's what's going on. That has been going on, not just here, but many places on the planet Earth of its. Because I'm not saying this is, but what I've also started to hear, I gave testimony, I was hearing the managers that kept using the word man. That's okay, man. I was like, why are they emphasizing man? At first, once again, I thought they were referring to someone, they needed someone like a man. You know how you be manly? But then listening to the feedback and then hearing Birdman, black saying brother like female, male, I was like, they must be talking about something else. My tablet being freezing up at certain times, the machinery acting up in the room, money being stolen out my account. That man loved her. She loved her son. Like some type of it loves Imani, Islam. So I'm getting to the point where, so what I do, because there's been this employee, I just told a few days ago or a week ago, he looked like he from South America. I mean, I'll be walking around at Whole Foods, and this is maybe months ago, and I noticed I would go for different aisles and he would be there looking at some. I was like, now that's odd. I just came from there. He's at the different aisle. How did, it's just coincidence, or coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. But I noticed then he would ask me can I help you? Okay, because it seemed like I would go 1 hour, the next hour. I'm not saying he was following me, but it's just something about him that definitely said that something's odd. And I've already experienced odd behavior in Annapolis, especially at Whole Foods and other places. So I told him, don't talk to me. Islam? Okay. Just a few days ago, I'm looking at the aisle, something to buy as usual, and I hear someone say, "Can we help you?" And then, or she needs help or something like that. And he walks by, and once again, he's engaged. He looks like he's from South America. He's the light skin, maybe El Salvador. And I said, "I told you not to talk to me." And he just kept walking. So I got to go because I have to use the restroom. But now, because I'm not saying Whole Foods will have anything to do with any tampering of water. But this is a thought that I was experiencing. If you're dealing with corruption or criminal activity, how far will they go? Okay? So if you're dealing with criminal activity, you're among lab freaks and lab experiments. That will go to a point where they will invade someone's dream to rape or stimulate the genitals and their child. Okay, and then make it a ritual as though they had the right to do it. And then you have a community that encourage such behavior. These are thoughts. What will they not do? And you're among those that are created by our scientists to behave outside of natural law. So I check a lot of times. I'm hoping that Whole Foods, even though I've had a lot of odd experiences at Whole Foods, another experience I had was one of the black employees. I was getting something from someone out of the blue wanted to give me a gift card for $45 or $50 out of the blue. At first I was like, I don't know if I should take this. The cashier said that the person wanted to stay anonymous, but implied it was a woman. And as I was debating whether I should take it or not, another employee, black female, she was like, now you can tweet something positive. At Whole Foods, I don't know her. She just engaged in the conversation. And I stopped and said, "What did you say?" And she said again, I said, "If it's not dealing with Whole Foods, you shouldn't be talking to me on this level. I can tweet what I want. I'm in the spirit of freedom." So I record when I go to Burger King. When I go to Burger King, I record for safety and other reasons. But that has not stopped, and I know they know I'm recording, stop some of them from behaving the same way they were behaving in back then, a lot worse, okay? From saying things and doing things that just didn't make sense, that can cause mental illness, which can affect the health. The first time I started to feel 4 sharp pains, I'm not accusing Burger King, was maybe a few months after I came to Annapolis and I got employed at Burger King. And I never experienced 4 sharp pains before like this. And I'm a person who, especially when my consciousness changed, love my health. I encourage health. I'm happy to learn more about my health so I can stay healthy. Health is important. It keeps you from not having to go to the hospitals and get in medical debt, right? And but I didn't understand the frequency, how frequency can be used to cause 4 sharp pains in your head, your genitals, and different your inner organs. And one time I started to feel a sharp pain in my left temple, I think it was, or my right. And at the time, this pale skin that used to have the United States American flag on both sides of her truck, black truck, and she had the license plate Navy 1. As I experienced it, she just simultaneously, she was in front of me because I was about to take her order at Burger King. She said, "Paid y'all." She paid or paid y'all or something like that. I can't remember. I documented it. I can't remember exactly right now, right off. And then as time went on, the pains just kept going and experiencing sharp pains out of nowhere. And then I hear, when blood clots would come out, I noticed when I'm on my menstrual, I would hear sometimes predominantly black males and Spanish speaking from South Central America make noises, like as the blood clot would come out. I'm not saying all this is happening at Burger King, and I'm not accusing Burger King, but I'm just giving you experiences. Islam. So knowing that we are among lab freaks that are definitely created for a population to stay on a low frequency of thoughts and behavior. A lab freak can get a signal at any time to behave in a certain manner, to subjugate in extreme manners. So what is being experienced here in Annapolis is a small experience of what can happen in the future. Because when you're outside of natural law and you don't respect, you are a threat to humanity. And then you have those that encourage it because of thoughts or mentally ill themselves or whatever, it will only increase. Islam.